So hi all. So in this tutorial we are going to be discussed with respect to web-based Flask application for a Keras tutorial. So we'll go and see how does that going to be helpful. Let's try to understand where we discussed about the classification. At the time we discussed the Flask framework in the classification algorithm, right? So I will quickly introduce this concept with respect to in the deep learning also. So whatever we discussed in the classical ML, the corresponding application, corresponding framework is going to be used in the Flask. So everywhere Flask is the same. Okay, this is a framework. You have to be understood. This is a act as a service kind of the thing. So what eventually happened with the Flask application, with corresponding, you required some of the data, right? So you are storing some database. You can say some of the cases what you required, you need to store some of the database like MySQL or Oracle kind of thing. So you have to store some of the information to retrieve and get access with the database. So you require a server, obviously. Currently we are using as a Flask application for a server, you can say. Flask is a server corresponding to whatever the mediator to act as. This is a mediator. Similarly, you are a client. I am a client. Suppose I am a client. You are a client or you are an end user, you would say. End user. So what will happen eventually? The end user is going to be request to your server, right? Request your server to get some response from the server. To get some response from the server. Eventually, what will happen at the back end? The server is going to be requested to your database, and the database will give some of the information to the server. The server will give the information to the end user. That's how the procedure will going to be works out. But in our application, currently we are not using any database. Currently we are not using any database. So since it is a local system or local applications, we don't have any such databases. We are just using only for understanding the Keras documentation with corresponding to the image data. So I'm not going to the details of how to use the database currently. So this is fine with you, right? So then what eventually we are going to do with corresponding to the server and also the client. Let's see that. So I have an application with corresponding to you can say the server and along with the client. This is the client and this is the server, right? So what will happen eventually? So I will send a request to get some request. At the time I given some request, what it will do, it will throw some application related to the web page. You can say web page related application. What you have to do, you will get some HTML kind of the thing in your screen. You have to fill that. You have to fill that. You will get some response to fill that as a form, as a form. Or as for just now our case study, we had to import the images. Import the images. So if you import the images, it will analyze the data, or it will analyze that image and get the predictions again. So what you have to do, fill that sheet or fill that form and try to send to your server again. This is we can call it as post method. We already discussed in the classical ML. Hope you remember these things. So what if I going to be get the same information from the server to the client? So this we can call it as a get method. This we can call it as a get method. So post and get methods are very straightforward stuff. Whenever you want to be request something to the server, we can call it as a post. Whenever you want to get the information from the server, you can call it as a get. So yeah, this is good stuff. What exactly our case study does here is, so I have it already pre-trained data sets and pre-trained model with consisting of ImageNet data sets. So let's go and understood what exactly the image data set is. So I'm on the page of the TensorFlow with consisting of different applications to use as a transfer learning mechanism. We already discussed, right? Transfer learning is nothing but whenever you have already pre-trained mechanism or already pre-trained model, such as VGG16, we already seen yesterday, such as VGG16. These pre-trained mechanisms we're going to be end up with other data set, to get the predictions, to get the predictions or to get the classification task, maybe probably. So what will happen eventually, you have to take this data, you have to take this pre-trained model and try to apply on top of your data set. That's it. So then we have so many different pre-trained mechanisms, such as a dense net, efficient net, intercept, and also the rest net and image net, VGG16, VGG19. So these are all different pre-trained mechanisms we are going to be handled in the keras itself. So we can try to understand what exactly the ImageNet data. So because we are using that image data into our case study here to get wild animals predictions. So we're going to be analyzing who are the different animals we have in the data sets, so that we can analyze whether it is a lion or whether it is a tiger, whether it is a dog, whether it is a cat, like that. So we can showcase that, we can showcase the demo maybe after completion of this video. So yeah, you can see here I'm on the page of the keras with corresponding the ImageNet data. So keras